As soon as we land on New Homestead, we get an activity to enter New Homestead. Now I'm actually getting hit with the cold air, so I'm hoping the glitch is fixed. But we'll find out if the glitch is fixed in a bit. Let's go enter New Homestead.
This is a boring assignment, but let's keep it that way.
You got it, dude. I'm just here to visit a new city. A new homestead.
Welcome to New Homestead.
So it wants us to go down these stairs and deeper in. So once I enter this door, this is as far as I've gotten. And that completes that activity of entering New Homestead. Okay, there's a Chunks here with a named NPC named Luther.
Well, what did we think of the tour?
Very informative. I didn't know about the methane harvesters before coming here.
The Brown Horse Tavern, was it, huh? The food was better than I expected from a backwoods planet like this.
It has a quaint charm, doesn't it?
Just like the rest of New Homestead.
Well, I hope you'll come back and see us again sometime. And I hope you'll consider another Starsap tour. Tell your friends.
We will. Thanks again.
Excuse me, Bill. You've got to do a better job of keeping your tour groups out of trouble.
What do you mean?
That little boy almost wound up on my operating table. Claudio said he was playing with some of the machinery down by the mines and nearly got his arm stuck inside. It could have been ripped off.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, kids, little troublemakers. I'll tell the guests to be more careful.
Damn right. You've got to do something, or else next time it happens, I'm billing you personally.
Yeesh.
Okay. Dr. Lakota. Maurice Lyon. Well, Maurice ain't telling the truth. Starsap. Hold on. So I have talked to some of the people upstairs. And what I was told, okay, there we go, Montreal, was that the people that are here are named after, not American, after cities on Earth. So Seattle, we've met Munich. Starsap isn't, as far as I know, a city? What is that noise? Oh, there's a slate. Before we go ahead and talk to good old Bill here.
This colony is a lot smaller than I thought it would be.
There's a brochure rough draft. Visit historical New Homestead and take a comprehensive genuine Starsap tour. Learn about the early days of humanity's ventures into space. See how people lived in the colonies of yore. Oh, is it meant to rhyme? Speak and interact with traditional Titan citizens experiencing early colony life. Explore the frozen surface of Titan. Well, let's do a tour. That's the best way to start off visiting a new location.
Why, hello there! I'm Bill Starsap of Starsap Tours. Let me tell you, this place is full of history and interesting facts. For instance, did you know that New Homestead was one of the first colonies established outside of Earth? It's been populated in some capacity for over 200 years.
It looks like it. That's interesting. I would love to know more about New Homestead.
Well, there's plenty more where that came from if you're interested in taking one of my famous tours. So what do you say? I've got an opening. I could take you on a tour right now if you'd like.
New activity, speak with Bill. I am speaking with Bill. No offense, but Starsap is an unusual name. Sounds almost made up.
None taken. I get it all the time. If you think it sounds made up, well, that's because it is. I come from an eccentric family. Back in the early days of space travel, generations ago, my ancestors were really into science fiction. They wanted a name that seemed like it fit into the stories they grew up with, so they changed their last name, and the Starsap family name was born. Used to be Bramblefoot before that. Their ancestors liked a different type of fiction.
Okay. Bramblefoot, why would someone want a tour of New Homestead?
Why would I want a tour of New Homestead, he says? Well, let me tell you, New Homestead is living history. These people are direct descendants of some of the first settlers to leave Earth. If you've ever wanted to know what that early colonial life was like, this is your chance to embark on a fun-filled exhibition unlike any other.
Okay, well, what do you recommend seeing while I'm here? Anything to avoid?
Definitely check out the Brown Horse Tavern. Good food, great atmosphere. Avoid spending too much time outdoors. It's freezing out there. Any more than that, well, I'd be giving away the tour for free. Need some more time to think about it?
No, okay, I'd like to go on a tour of New Homestead.
Excellent! You won't regret it. My tours are one of a kind. Now, there's just the matter of price. The going rate for a genuine Starsap tour is only 100 credits.
But I can't apparently persuade him. I'd like to, but that's more than I was hoping to spend.
Well, 100 credits is very reasonable, I think.
It 100% is, but I don't care if I fail this one. 100's not that much. I'll make it up to you by telling everyone about your amazing tour. Promise.
Well, I don't usually do exposure, but you certainly seem like a well-traveled individual. Maybe it'll be good for business. Tell you what, I like you. This one's on the house, but if you enjoyed the tour, I'd really appreciate if you'd tell all your friends about me when it's done. So let's get this show on the road, eh? All right, so this is New Homestead's main concourse. This underground area didn't exist when the original outpost, Titan Astro Base, was finished in 2130. Follow me. We'll come back here by the end of the tour and talk about the museum collection. But first, let's go see where people live. Now remember, these people aren't actors. They actually live here, so try to be respectful of that. While the original inhabitants of the Titan Astro Base lived in pods like you saw up above, they transitioned down here when this section of the base was finished in 2144. Space is extremely limited, so you'll notice some overflow here, but more residences also exist on lower levels, which are inaccessible to tours. I'll stop at each of our destinations if you want to look around, or if you have any questions for me.
We started the mission, Starsap Tours. I decided to take a tour of New Homestead with Bill Starsap, so I could learn more about its history. Child.
Have any questions so far?
The overflow area looks cramped. What's with that?
Sadly, it's difficult to get additional construction done inside these underground caverns. So for now, additional populations are housed in these stacks of old shipping crates. As you might expect, this is where some of the less wealthy can afford to live. It's not glamorous, but they are functional and cozy.
Okay. Can you tell me more about how people lived before this was all built?
The original Titan astrobase had more habitation pods on the surface connected to some of the old structures you may have seen in the back. As the colony grew, the base was expanded underground, and those hab units were recycled into materials used down here.
Okay. How many people live here?
I'm not sure the exact count, but New Homestead is a fairly small colony. What you see is what you get for the most part, except for some other people who live in the private lower levels. Some, particularly security, and yours truly, even commute from other worlds.
So you don't even live on the planet? You just fly out? I'd like to check this out in more detail.
Oh, sure, I'll be here waiting. The locals love to talk with tourists, but they'll let you know if they're busy. So please respect them.
Always so cold here.
Adriana Bastille. The lounge. Okay. The clinic. Oh, it's that doctor.
Another tourist. Just do me a favor and stay out of trouble. It's hard enough dealing with our own sick and injured. Great. Another.
Hold on.
Stay safe.
Let's get that dialogue again.
Great. Another tourist. Let me guess. You slipped on the ice and need a doctor to wrap your sprained ankle?
Love it when a doctor's got an attitude. What's your problem with tourists? Don't they help the local economy?
They do, but they're also a terrible burden for a small colony doctor like myself. I have enough trouble treating our own people with the time and resources I have.
Order more resources. I'm here visiting, but I'm not a tourist.
I appreciate that you're trying to set me at ease, but that might as well be the same. Sorry for how I responded. It's not you, it's me. I'm just frustrated about all the non-native people I need to treat when our own still need help. Anyway, what can I do for you?
And it gave me a quest for her, so we're not going to worry about any of her other dialogue. We'll do that.
Try to be careful out there.
We'll do that when we do her quest. Mission. They're called missions. But we are seeing...
Must be nice to be able to afford to travel, huh?
Adrian, Brasilia. Brazil? Brazil's not a city. But there probably is a city around the area called Brasilia.
Oh, you don't really want to talk to me. I'm just a nobody from the crates. Besides, I'm not really good at talking to tourists about New Homestead. If you're really interested in our history, talk to Maurice. He's a lot better at that than I am.
I'd love to talk to you, really.
You do? I mean, sure. I don't know what I can tell you, but if you want to talk, I don't have anything else I need to do right now.
So, you're having trouble with your studies? Where did I get that from?
Okay, well, no. Not the studies specifically. Like, I get good grades when I'm able to apply myself. But I'm poor. I just don't have the kind of money to be a full-time student and support myself. Even living in the cheap-ass crates. I keep having to take odd jobs just to put food on my plate. And when I do, my grades suffer. I just feel like I'll be stuck in a rut forever.
We can give her 20,000 credits, which is nothing to us, by the way. But I also have a professor check. As an educator, I'd advise you take on a lighter course load. Go part-time. It'll help.
You know, I never stopped to think about that. Like, I know I won't get it all done as quick as I'd hoped, but at least I could support myself. It's funny. I get better life advice from a total stranger than my mother ever gave me. Didn't even know that was an option. Thanks for the advice.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize they don't have to do full-time. Colleges push the full-time thing. I know I work at one because they get more themselves the more full-time students they have. But yeah, don't go full-time. I got bored with going, which is why I stacked and did like 7 classes in one semester because I wanted to be done as soon as possible. But don't feel like you have to do that. Don't rush through it just to get done and leave.
What's up?
Well, hold on. We're going to give you some money.
No, not this time. But I keep having to take off.
Because I can make this money back in no time at all. I don't care about giving you 20,000 credits. So consider this a scholarship.
What? Really? I don't know what to say. This is beyond kind of you. I mean, I don't even know you, but wow. Thank you.
What do you do here in New Homestead?
Well, I'm trying to finish up my undergrad schooling, actually. I want to be a physicist like my grandmother. Then, who knows what. But I also do some odd jobs here or there for money. Sometimes I help Jay out at his shop, and he gives me stuff in return. Sometimes I help Anya clean up at the Brown Horse when she's short-staffed. That sort of thing.
I feel like this option should have been above the first option, because this is where I found out she went to school. But they put the other option first. You mentioned something about the crates. What's that?
The crates are what we call the living quarters for the poor people, like me. They're made from old shipping containers. We have to make do with the space we have here. They're comfortable enough, I guess. And no one on Titan is well off to begin with, but you can tell that people look down on us, especially some of the tourists.
Okay, well, how do you feel about your home being a tourist destination?
It's not as bad as you'd think. I like talking to off-worlders, especially people my age. It gives me ideas for what I want to do when I'm done with school. Because, honestly, I'm not sure I want to stay here. It'll always be my home, but as soon as I can afford to, I'd love to explore my options.
That's it.
Thanks for stopping by to talk.
I just gave you 20,000 credits. What did you spend it on? That'd be so messed up, though, to give her those credits and then steal it. And there's a frog, space frog from outer space poster here. And her diary. And the disgusting toilets that are here. Oh, man. I have to read her diary, but I'm going to save it just in case it's bad. Adrian's what do I call her? Brasilia's diary. Brasilia. Things have been tough since Mom left and Dad died, so her mom got to leave. I'm very alone here, but I'm hanging in there. Dad was never quite the same after she left, and Mom, well, I'm glad she's gone. I never seemed good enough for her, and her new boyfriend was kind of a jerk. I'm finishing up school, and then, hopefully, I can get out of here too. But it's hard, because even though my classes cost next to nothing, I still have lots of expenses, and I barely have enough to eat. I only earn scraps from Jay and Anya. It's not like they have tons of credits either. And because I have to take time away from my studies, my grades suffer. It sucks. Why is everything so hard? How do other people do this? No one around here has really gone to college except for Dr. Lakota. And maybe the new lady, Joyce. Dr. Lakota doesn't really have time for me. The few times I went for advice, she was just like, stick with it, kid. You'll get there if you put in the work. I don't know what to do. I thought writing it down could help. But now I just have a place I can remember how bad I feel right now. So that's cool. We have spoken to Joyce. Her mission is broken, unfortunately. Or at least on this character, maybe a different character it'll work.
Thanks for saying what you said to me. That was really good advice.
So they were told by a therapist to write their ideas down.
Some say New Homestead is a backwoods world. Maybe it is, but that doesn't really bother me. See you around, maybe.
And it shouldn't. There's nothing wrong with small places like this. I just find it odd that people come here for tours. There's supposedly a person named Maurice around here. What? Whose room is this? Your bed is literally right next to the toilet.
That tour guide showed one of the kids a picture of some silly drawing he saw in Sidonia. Now I feel like it's popping up everywhere.
Yeah, Space Frog. Oh, it's not right here. Where did I just see it? Space Frog from outer space. I helped a little girl with those. Oh, there it is. It's right there. I'm flying into a fan and not getting my head chopped off. It was right here. This person doesn't even get a bed frame. They just have their bed on the floor. Chunks cake. I'm guessing you're Maurice. No, you're just a citizen.
I could really go for some of Anya's cooking over at the Brown Horse.
This one's just storage. Is that gonna be my player home? Can I get a player home here?
You off-worlders have it made.
Okay. I'm gonna trust he's gonna stop me when I get further down, right? Bill?
Have any questions so far?
I think I'm ready for whatever's next.
Alrighty. We'll be taking the residential elevator to the farms area on the surface level. This way, please. Let's leave these good people alone for now.
Dang it! Bill! I didn't realize. I thought we were going to slowly work our way through. No, we have to do this whole area now. So fine. Just means now I have this annoyingly long loading screen to sit through. Well, it also means I don't take her diary now. I was gonna reload eventually anyways and have to redo the tour, but now can't. The bathrooms.
Enjoy your visit here.
Sure would be nice to get off-world sometime.
We used to get more tourists than we do these days.
Oh, I was at the end. Maybe. Suite number 1. Fields of Everglass. Wow, this isn't really a suite. This is just a bunk room with 6 beds.
Lots of history here, if you're into that sort of thing.
Suite number 2. This feels more like a suite. Bad People, Bad Jokes 3. Letter to the school board. To whom it may concern, my daughter Sylvie is part of the UC Remote World Learning Program. In this month's study kit, she was assigned a book titled The Hills Cry Jimison. As I do all books assigned to her, I took to reading it first to judge suitability for my daughter. How do you get off giving her this garbage to read? Her assigned learning counselor tells us it's really about building friendships, learning to tolerate others' differences, and overcoming adversity. That's all fine and good. Those are important lessons. But I see it for what it is. Nothing but propaganda promoting your planet. My daughter is a proud new homesteader, and I see to it she remains that way. I don't want her getting silly ideas in her head about picking up from her home and family and moving to your consumer wasteland of a world. Sylvie will not be reading this book. I want my daughter to learn, but if you keep sending her material that pushes her away from me, I'll have no choice but to homeschool her, which places a huge burden on my family due to our farming responsibilities. Please reconsider the reading material you send our way. Nathan Manila. And we did talk to them. And this is getting a bit more uncomfortable for me. Because he's her stepfather, and he's this obsessed with her being taken away from him. At least I believe he's her stepfather, because her mother says my daughter and not our daughter. So I don't know. It's just, it's a bit odd. And I don't like it. I didn't encounter Maurice.
Thanks again for what you did for me. I'll remember your generosity.
No problem. Just do good, become a physicist. Okay, Bill, we're ready to go.
Have any questions so far?
I'm ready for whatever's next.
Alrighty. We'll be taking the residential elevator to the farms area on the surface level. This way, please. Let's leave these good people alone for now and go check out the farms. Follow me up the elevator.
Careful. There are some dangerous areas around here that are not part of any tours.
New Homestead's farms are the beating heart of the colony. Without them, the original outpost would have shriveled and died. These pods are sealed and climate controlled, the perfect environment for growing the hydroponic vegetation needed for survival in the early days of the colony.
I don't mind the tourists. They help the local economy.
Speak with Bill.
Any questions about the farms?
Are the farms still operational?
Oh, they are indeed. Colonists still cultivate plant-based food for their own consumption here in New Homestead. It's less vital to their survival these days, as they also import supplemental food from other colonies, including meats, dairy, and synthetics. However, most citizens here take pride in a new homestead-grown, sustainable diet.
Okay, what do they grow here?
These days, it's a mix of what you find elsewhere in the galaxy, but in the olden days, it was all brought over from Earth. It was a lot of hardy root vegetables like potatoes, carrots, beets, and such, supplemented with corn, peas, green beans, soy, etc., which didn't always grow as well.
Makes a good point, dear.
That conversation is happening even though I didn't talk to them. How is this different than anywhere else in the galaxy?
Good question. It's largely the same, because this was the colony that pioneered the techniques you see elsewhere. But you'll notice that the farms here are smaller and staffed by humans, not robots. Things here are a little more old-fashioned compared to some of the large factory farms you'll find elsewhere in the settled systems.
Okay, I would like to look around a little more.
By all means, go right ahead. Feel free to talk to the farmers, but I ask you respect their privacy and don't bother them too much. After all, they are on the job. Come back and let me know when you're ready to move on.
I might have to splice the old conversation I've already had into this because it seems like they already started talking to each other.
We were learning about Jemison in my class the other day. Can we go there someday, Mama?
We talked about this, Sylvie. If you want to go there for your learning vacation when you're older, you may, but not until then.
Dear, maybe we should talk about it before we say no?
You know we can't afford to leave the farm. People here depend on us.
I know.
Tell you what, your mom and I will talk about it.
Thanks, Papa.
But let's see if they have any new
We
information.
Titans are hardy people. You'd have to be to live in a place like this. We get a lot of tourists out this way, but most of them aren't so bold as to strike up conversations with us. What's your deal?
So this is different because I'm talking to him first. I'm just interested in how cultivation works on this planet.
You seem genuine enough. So what can I do for you?
But as you notice, he has a different last name than his family. He is Manila, they are Munich, which is why I believe he is a stepfather and not an actual father. I mean, not saying that he's not a birth father. What can you tell me about your farm?
Well, for one, it's my wife Mara's farm. I just had the good fortune of marrying into it. It's been in her family for generations. We're the best source of fresh produce in the colony. Not like that processed junk we get from off-world, and certainly nothing like that eyesore chunks.
So this is also new information. I didn't even know it was not his farm. What kind of challenges do you face farming on Titan?
From what I know about farming elsewhere, it's largely the same. Big difference is that we need to import or make our own soil. And we need to be extra careful with our temperature control. Titan's surface is frozen, and it's not much better just below it with the ice caves. Then it's just a matter of artificial sunlight and supplying CO2 for the crops. It's not too challenging.
Okay, just wanted to chat a little. Thanks for your time.
No worries. You have yourself a day now. We get a lot of tourists out this way, but mind yourself out there.
Okay, let's talk to the wife.
The elders say that preserving our tradition is so important, but I keep hearing such wonderful things about other worlds. Ah, someone new. Are you a tourist, or have you just moved to New Homestead?
All of this is the same, so I'm not going to do it here because I've already done it.
Oh, it's okay if you need to go, but I'd love to continue our little chat if you have the time later.
I'll just edit all of that conversation into it because it's
You all
quite
can travel the stars,
it's quite long.
But someone's got to respect and preserve the old soul traditions.
It's roughly like 18 minutes of conversation between their family. Same thing with her. I'm gonna guess she won't have any unique dialogue. Let's go ahead.
Farming is really important.
Don't touch.
Oh, it's a child.
Hello? I'm not really supposed to talk with tourists, but I kind of want to anyway. And I don't think my papa is paying attention. You're not going to tell him, are you?
Don't talk to strangers, little kid. Now I feel like I have to tell him. I feel like I should say this. Maybe we should respect your parents' wishes.
It's just my daddy, really. My mama's okay with it. But, oh, fine. If you don't wanna, I get it. But, I love talking with tourists, so I'll be here if you still want to talk.
Okay. Are there a lot of other kids in New Homestead?
Not really. There's some, though. Most are around my age. We all go to school in the same room.
Is school here the same as other settled systems? We've only seen one other school, and it was on the Constant.
I don't know. I've never been to any other schools. We mostly learn about the history of the Sol system and Earth and stuff like that until we get old enough to go on our learning vacation. That's when we get to leave to go to school somewhere else for a few years, or travel and visit other worlds, try out jobs and stuff. Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, we did remember there's also a random encounter with a spaceship full of children. A learning vacation.
Are you gonna say something? Should I?
Why doesn't your dad want you talking to tourists, other than that's just not a smart thing to do?
My mama says it's because he thinks we'd up and leave if we found out about the rest of the worlds out there. But I keep telling him, I love it here, and I love him, and I would never leave him. He doesn't believe it. He says the kids almost always want to leave when they grow up. But not me. Nope. I just want to visit somewhere else. Maybe.
Okay, so overly protective dad. It's not just the fact that talking to strangers next to a spaceport could get you kidnapped. It's that he doesn't want his daughter to leave. Do you enjoy working on the farm? How do I know she works on a farm?
I think it's pretty fun. And I get to be around my mama and my papa all day, so that's cool. They say we all have to work a little, because it takes all of us to make the community work. Just like on Earth a really, really, really long time ago. Someday, I think it'd be cool to see other places and do other things, but this is fine for now.
That's all of her dialogue. Maybe we can find her mother and father. Munich. Nathaniel Manila.
My papa doesn't really like me talking to the tourists, but how else am I going to learn about out there?
Well, we used to get more tourists than we do these days.
I could see why you don't get tourists anymore. There's nothing to see. But there's the mother. Okay. Mara Munich.
Ah, someone new. Are you a tourist, or have you just moved to New Homestead?
If you tell me I can get a player home here, I'm going to be like, what the? I'm here visiting. I'm interested in learning about the colony.
Well, there's lots to learn. You can always feel free to try one of the historical tours or ask the locals about life here. I'm fascinated by the other worlds in the settled systems. Do you mind if I ask you a question?
No, go right ahead.
Oh, wonderful. What's New Atlantis like?
So I'm a small town kind of person, but I'm going to be honest with her. It's amazing. There's huge skyscrapers, beautiful skies, people from all walks of life.
Oh my, that sounds incredible. Ever since I overheard one of the tourists speaking about it, I've always wanted to go. We hear about it, of course, but we rarely get much exposure to other worlds beyond the people who come from them to visit our little colony. I wonder if I can convince Nathaniel to go on a trip there with me and our daughter. Do you mind if I ask you another question?
Oh, so because Nathaniel had a different name, I didn't know that was her father. That's why I skipped past him. He's her stepfather. Yeah, I don't mind.
Thanks. I promise not to take too much of your time. Is the Freestar Collective as lawless as I've heard?
No, the Freestar stands as a monument to freedom. Anyone can live as they please. The Freestar is basically America, and the UC is Britain, because that's the whole... They're redoing the War of American Britain. That was the whole point.
Really? That sounds nice, but what happens if there's a dispute? Who settles it? Do people really just take the law into their own hands at that point? Can people be trusted to do the right thing? Gosh, I'm sorry, you don't need to answer all of that. I'm just so fascinated by it all. Is it okay if I change the subject?
Yeah, ask away.
Oh, thank you. Are there really planets full of plants, fresh air, and water?
Yeah, there are beautiful planets teeming with life of all kinds. Why are you guys still here on this planet?
I've read about them. It seems incredible, doesn't it? I've only ever known Titan, and it's always so cold and drab. I've always dreamed of visiting one to breathe the air, feel the warmth of its sun, but my husband is reluctant to leave our home. Can I ask you something else?
Yep, ask away.
Oh, thank you. Is space travel as exciting as it seems?
It is dangerous, but if I say it's extremely dangerous, is that going to scare her away? No, I'm still amazed by the awe and wonder of it every time I go out there.
Well, you've convinced me that I simply must go sometime. Most of us here have never left the surface of New Homestead. It's a point of pride among many people, but I've always been curious. Those are all the questions I have at the moment. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day for me.
All right.
It'd be nice to get away for a while, but it's difficult. People rely on the farm.
What? Is this the farm? This is the farm? Because farms typically grow things that people can consume. Whether food or, to make materials. You just seem to have...
You all can travel the stars, but someone's got to respect and preserve the old soul traditions.
Oh, he's one of those. You're not growing anything of use, except for oxygen, I guess. You're creating oxygen.
We talked about this, Sylvie. If you want to go there for your learning vacation when you're older, you may, but not until then.
Was he supposed to be next to Sylvie when he was talking? But she's not in the room? Hold on, I'm gonna wait till he stops. I think he's gonna talk to his wife.
Dear, maybe we should talk about it before we say no?
You know we can't afford to leave the farm. People here depend on us.
I know.
Tell you what, your mom and I will talk about it.
Thanks, Papa.
If
My
you'll
daddy
pardon
says
me,
farming
I'm
is
not in
really
the mood to
important.
talk.
But I kind of want to do other things.
We'll talk about it, but I'm not in the mood to talk. Nathaniel?
I overheard you speaking to my wife, Mara, filling her head with ideas about picking up and leaving home. You got anything to say for yourself?
Yeah, she clearly wants to visit off-world. Why not let her?
Listen here. Mara's free to make her own decisions. I'm not here to control her if that's what you're insinuating. But that doesn't mean I take kindly to other people manipulating her and telling her the other worlds are full of sunshine and rainbows. We live a simple traditional life here, and it's important to the community that we maintain that. Do you understand?
Well, if you're working the farm and they don't work on your farm, they're free to do whatever they want. So, what traditions are we talking about here?
Traditions like the way we tend this farm, strong family ties, early colonial life. We do it all with the bare minimum technologies to survive. Everything else is hard work done by humans. It's good for humanity's soul.
Okay. And what's so important about your traditions?
People rely on technology too much. We need to remember how to perform the basics to survive in case we ever find ourselves without said technology. We need to remember where we came from, Earth, this system, lest we forget and repeat the same mistakes as before. We're one of the last colonies charged with that preservation. That's why it's important.
Just so you know, I talked to your daughter, too. No, I don't agree with you. People should explore the universe freely.
We're going to have to agree to disagree then. I only ask that you respect our wishes.
Well, I only ask that you respect your wife and daughter's decision to explore.
The elders say that preserving our tradition is so important, but I keep hearing such wonderful things about other worlds. Do you come from one of those planets with beautiful skies and fresh air? My, how I'd love to visit one day.
I actually don't have a canonical backstory to where I come from. I'm a Dusty.
But why do we have to farm? How is that part of our tradition?
Well, we tend the farm here because we need to grow food. And that's what our ancestors did on Earth.
But didn't they have big open fields and giant machines? We don't have any of that.
She makes a good point, dear.
It's because we have a much smaller space to work with.
So then, it's not really the same, is it? How is it a tradition if it's not the same thing as they did? And so then, why is it important that we preserve it?
I don't know, it just is. Now, we don't want to fall behind on work, so let's get back to it, okay, kiddo?
Okay, fine.
Seems
I've
like...
heard about lots of other planets out there. Some of them sound pretty scary, though. I always wonder what it's like where... Thanks for taking the time to talk with
Seems
me.
like he's just blindly following in old ideologies because that's how he was raised. Anything else to say, Nathaniel?
We Titans are hardy people. You'd have to be to live in a place like this. I overheard you speaking to my wife, Mara. You got anything to say for...
We already went through this. Okay. With all those conversations out of the way, we can go ahead and talk to Bill again.
Any questions about the farms?
Nope, I'm ready to move on.
Onward it is! We'll be stopping by the Brown Horse Tavern later in the tour, which uses many of these locally sourced ingredients in their cooking. But for now, it's just a short way to our next stop. Follow me! So, the old biolabs are just on the other side of this building, believe it or not. We'll step on through the hallway there. They're not in use anymore, but the colony has faithfully recreated them as a historical
Don't stay
exhibit,
outside for too long
true
here
to
on
the
Titan.
original
You'll
purpose
freeze
of the
solid
Titan
without the proper
Astro
protection.
Base. Sadly, they're undergoing some slight renovation. Otherwise, there'd be interactive activities for kids to learn about how they used to search for microbial life here.
Okay, speak with Bill.
Pardon the dust, but I can still answer some questions about the old Titan Astrobase biolabs.
What kind of life did they find here?
Funny you should ask. Sadly, none. See, NASA funded the Titan Astrobase project because conditions seemed ripe for primordial life to form in Titan's methane pools. They tested many different sites, performed deep core ice drilling, and more, yet nothing turned up.
Okay, so that was it. Why did they use these labs for after? What did they use these labs for after no life was found?
Well, NASA defunded the xenobiology program in 2132, but a scientist by the name of Catherine Neely proposed research into advanced colony building on inhospitable worlds. So, by 2135, work began on what would ultimately set us all up to create habitats anywhere humans dared to explore. These very labs housed the computer systems used in that research. That and general storage for the colony. Lots of storage.
You keep mentioning the Titan Astrobase. What is that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I completely forgot to mention that. That's what this place was originally called. When NASA divested its interest in the Astrobase and turned it over to the people back in 2185, they renamed it New Homestead and established it as a historical site.
Okay, well, I guess I want to take a closer look, even though the door is closed.
Sure thing. Keep in mind, the Biolabs exhibit is closed for visitors, but I'll be waiting if you need a minute anyway.
New Homestead is a living history exhibit, but these are real people, so please be kind to them.
So I saw the tech, and it's like, wait, Vault Tech? No. Just seeing if there's a way to sneak into there. There probably is, but not from here. So I guess we're just going to move forward.
Pardon the dust, but I can
It's okay. We can keep moving.
You got it. On to our next stop. Next, we'll be heading outside, so make sure to check those seals on your suit because it's a bit chilly out there. We're going out into the frozen wastes of Titan to see what powers this planet. Watch your step outside, by the way. The ice can be slippery if you're not careful. The goal is to keep people out of Dr. Lakota's infirmary.
She complained a lot, but her infirmary was completely empty.
Luther's been bothering anyone with a ship for hope.
Feel free
Anyway,
to look
where
around,
were we?
but
Oh,
don't
yes.
touch.
Powering New Homestead. As you might imagine, generating energy was a real challenge back in the day because the technology was much more crude then. But crude or not, it was that technology that sustained the old Astrobase. And it might surprise you to learn that the same technology is still working today. The interesting thing about this old colony is that it's mostly powered by clean, renewable energy. You'll see one of the methods used on the horizon up ahead. That's right, New Homestead's famous wind farms. This spot was chosen for the colony in part because of its constant winds.
They're not
These
moving.
turbines have been integral to the colony's function since its establishment as a cheap, mostly reliable source of electricity.
Yeah, they're not moving. Bill?
So, let's talk about wind power, shall we?
Do these turbines really power the entire colony?
Mostly. I'm sure you've noticed the occasional brownouts. I guess these old machines have a habit of freezing up, what with all the ice out here. There's some methane on reserve for critical life support systems, but everything else here is otherwise powered by the units you see here.
Okay, and the brownouts would tie into the mission involving Joyce that is, for me, currently broken. I'm hoping I can fix it or just find a character that it's not broken on. So what's so interesting about wind power? Why is it part of the tour?
You're looking at a piece of history. Sure, wind power is used throughout the galaxy, but these people were able to make do with it for hundreds of years. It's impressive that was all they had back then, and still make it work to this day.
Well, I didn't think Titan was all that windy, considering that the wind farms are not moving.
You're right. Most surface wind on Titan isn't too terribly strong, but here, the altitude and other conditions are perfect for sustained wind power. Like many worlds with atmosphere, the higher you go, the windier it gets.
Alright, well, I want to take a closer look.
Absolutely. Careful, though. I wouldn't stand too close to the turbines if I were you.
Okay, so there's their generator things. I don't know what they're actually called. I don't know if there's fall damage, so I just did that anyways, just so I don't shatter my legs. Yeah, none of these turbines are working. And I don't know if that's part of the glitch. Because Joyce tells us they're covered in ice, but as you can see, none of them are covered in ice. And there is no fall damage on planets with very low gravity. Okay. Let's get back to Bill then. I didn't check the little substation over here. Let's see. Nothing. Bill!
So, let's talk about wind power, shall we?
Actually, I think I'd like to move on.
You're the boss. Let's go. Moving right along, we're going to learn about Titan's great natural resources. Titan is rich with hydrocarbons like methane and ethane. Surely you saw huge pools of the stuff on your descent into New Homestead. I like to think they add to the natural beauty of this world. Of course, stay away from them because, like anything beautiful, they can be dangerous. Just like my last ex-wife's pet. She had this gorgeous, I don't know what you'd call it, creature. The guy that sold it to her couldn't tell her what it was or where it was from. I don't don't think it was even a legal cell, to be honest. The thing was very easy on the eyes. Feathers, all the colors of the rainbow. Nasty bite, though. Wound up in the hospital and almost lost my hand. Still not enough for her to get rid of the dang thing. Anyway, there's a reason she's my ex-wife. But enough about me. We were talking about methane and other resources, right?
Yeah? Oh.
Hey, can you believe it? Back in the 20th century on Earth, they used to fight wars over natural resources like this and petroleum. They had this whole moon here basically made of hydrocarbons in their own backyard. They just couldn't get to it. Incredible how far we've come. New Homestead is home to one of the oldest and largest methane processing plants in the settled systems. Every year, UC engineers go through a painstaking, month-long maintenance process. That's how this place has remained operational as long as it has. I'm not going to take you too close to the machinery, liability and all, but I can still answer questions.
This is the second time they've kind of poked fun at Fallout. The petroleum wars that led to the Great War. The resource wars, basically, is what it was. And then there's the UC Constants, which is Constant, which pokes fun at Fallout as well.
Questions? Fire away!
What do they do with all this methane?
Exports mostly, since this world is so methane rich and has the infrastructure for it. A lot of the UC's methane comes from Titan. Of course, new homesteaders use it themselves for everything from generating heat to turning it into breathable oxygen via modern science.
And we have a chemistry check. Which method do they use to turn methane into oxygen?
Oh, no one's ever asked me that before. Something to do with methane-eating microbes, I believe? I honestly don't know. Sorry.
Okay. How can they shut the plant down for maintenance if people rely on it to live?
Yeah, it's not as if they shut down for a month. It's not shut down at all, actually. See, this place is built with redundant systems, so they can shut it down piece by piece and suffer only a reduction in throughput. During that time, the UC gets more of its resources from other places, allowing New Homestead to maintain what it needs.
Okay, well, I'd like to take a moment.
Take your time, but not too much time. Don't want to keep other customers waiting, you know.
Okay. Well, I'm the only ship that's landed here, so don't even worry about it. No, that's just a citizen. It's a citizen. It's not even an engineer. I would not trust a random citizen outside with a torch next to our methane pipes. Not ours. I don't live here. I would want it to be someone that, you know, works here, like a technician. Ooh, storage crate. Then a single adaptive frame. An alarm just went off, so I wasn't sure if I was about to blow up. Spoop. Oh. What is that? Oh, it's just lights. Should I follow this all the way down? Was someone fishing? You know what would be perfect for right here? A little Resident Evil 4 callback where if you shoot the water, giant fish monster pops out and eats you. Salamander, I know, whatever. But man, would that have been funny. Missed opportunity. The issue with running all the way down there is having to run all the way back. Up. There was this building, so let's have a look inside. Oh, thanks. I was just...
Really go for some onions cooking over at the Brown Horse.
Get out. Hey. Just having a looky-loo.
It's a little weird that people come here to see what early colony life was like. To me, it's just how we live.
Got it. Got a computer. Let me guess, generic? Oh, there's absolutely nothing on it. It doesn't even have the generic entries. It's just a blank computer. Citizen. Did I hear another computer, or was that just the one that's upstairs? There's like no security. I can just walk around. I could press buttons. I see how that kid almost got his arm chopped off.
Hi there. Always nice seeing a new face.
Oh wait, was he about to bring me in here and take me through this door? Did I get ahead of myself? I think I did.
Questions? Fire away!
No more questions right now.
Okie dokie, artichoke. There will be time for more later anyway. So, this next stop is a bit of an interesting one. I only recently made it part of the tour. Fun fact, it's also the only natural landmark on the tour. What we're about to see is a glacial spire we affectionately call Ymir's Horn. This colus used to be named after a character in a popular fantasy novel, but it was changed a couple hundred years ago to avoid any potential litigation. Now, what's a colus, you might say? Colus derives from the Latin word for hill, and scientists only gave names to groups of hills on a planet's surface. So in reality, the term you hear more often is the plural, coles, with an E. You probably don't hear it very often where you're from, because it was usually a term reserved for unexplored planets, back when they didn't have the technology to describe what they were seeing firsthand. Because of that, the term is much more common in the Sol system, but you may still hear it occasionally in reference to uncharted worlds. This planet's full of them, though, and they like to preserve that history here.
All right.
So here it is, Ymir's Horn. You're free to take a closer look if you like.
Colises are more, or this is a geology check, are more like hills. Are you sure this isn't an ancient fumarolic ice tower?
How about that? You really know your stuff. Maybe you should be the one giving the tour. I kid. I'm not sure. I heard someone say that before. Something about the worn-down remains of an ancient volcano producing ice via steam? I don't know. It sounds like you understand this stuff better than I do.
All right, well, Ymir, who's that?
According to ancient Norse mythology, Ymir was the first Jotun, a frost giant. In the legend, they were both male and female and gave birth to the progenitors of all giants from their armpits. Ymir even predated the Norse gods, who, as it turns out, killed Ymir to fashion the earth and all of humanity from the corpse. It's a fascinating story, and the horn here is a fitting tribute to it.
Yep, so nice they're pulling in some mythology. I think I'll be right back.
Just be careful, it can get slippery out that way. I'll wait here.
Gotta climb Ymir's horn, obviously. Get myself a legendary pickaxe. Is it saying this entire thing is made of titanium? Oh, don't fall in. Oops. No, 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 no! I almost fell straight on down because I'm not paying any attention. I was trying to figure out why it was saying it was covered in, but that's because right below it, directly below it, is titanium. Oh god, no. I don't like heights. But there doesn't seem to be anything up here. Another missed opportunity. That just falls out of the world. Okay. Another missed opportunity to put something here. Come on, Bethesda. When people explore, they should be rewarded. Seeing if there's anything at the base. There's another one right there. I guess not as big, but there is another one right there.
So here it is. Ymir's home.
I think I'm done here.
Excellent. On to the next stop then. So, we're gonna head back inside through the methane processing plant. Try not to touch anything on your way. We want to make sure to respect Dr. Lakota's wishes to be safer around here. That brings me to another point. You'll notice the people around here have last names related to where their families originated from on Earth, as a way to remember the past. The museum curator, Maurice Leon, has more information about that if you're interested. You can find him inside the main concourse. Loves talking about it. You'll find most of the locals here are very friendly to tourists like yourself. Tourism is a major draw to this colony these days, and I respect that. Most of them are happy to talk at length about what they do here. Their rugged lifestyle is a point of pride for a lot of these folks.
I figured he would talk some
This
more.
area we're walking through is the nerve center of the plant, where technicians keep an eye on the operation. Since methane production is such an important part of the colony's livelihood, it's important that the techs notice any issues and react to them quickly. Anyway, we're headed into the ice mines. It's a natural spring where water bubbles up from deep below, but due to the cold, it keeps freezing as it reaches the surface.
This tour is a lot longer than I was anticipating, to be honest.
Hello?
As soon as I talk, he's gonna start talking, huh? He keeps doing that. But he's quiet. He said nothing this whole walk. So we have a Claudio Amsterdam. And he's only named one.
What else can I tell you about the ice mines?
Is this where all of New Homestead's water comes from?
Not all. Some water is created as a byproduct of methane processing, but that's usually saved in the emergency reserves.
Why not heat this area like the rest of the colony?
Good question. I believe it has something to do with not wanting to contaminate the water with methane and other chemicals. The ice helps prevent impurities in the water. At least this is what I've been told.
Well, I'm thirsty. Can I drink straight from the source?
I wouldn't recommend it. First, it's an active work site. Second, it still needs to be filtered and checked for contaminants. But don't worry, we'll stop somewhere for refreshments before the tour is over.
The tour? Well, I want to go look around some more.
Of course. Watch your step. It can get slick around here. I'll stay behind.
Claudio Amsterdam.
Another tourist come to learn about the ice mines, huh? It's dangerous in the ice mines. I'd much rather answer your questions than have you going off to explore on your own.
I don't have a miner check? I can't tell him I'm a miner? What's so dangerous about the ice mines?
I'm surprised I still get this question. It's slippery, it's sharp, it can break, it can cave in. Those are just the obvious examples. Titan is also full of methane, which can sometimes be trapped under the ice. As you know, methane can explode under the right conditions. It can also asphyxiate you if you breathe in too much of it.
Oh, here we go. As a fellow miner, I can respect the dangers you face.
Ah, so you can relate. It's good to talk with someone who understands the challenges of the job. Not everyone does. If I might ask, what do you mind?
Really? None ya, as in none yo business? No. Don't I mind a mysterious artifact that gave me visions. Oh, man. They're not going to like this answer because they don't like industry. So a little of this, a little of that.
I see. A generalist, then. I imagine it takes a lot of experience to know how to mine so many different things. My job must seem very simple to you. But simple as it may be, still takes a lot of skill to do it right. Feel free to watch us work if you ever want to learn more. Anyway, I'm sure we could swap mining stories all day, but I really should be getting back to what I was doing soon. I'm surprised I still get that. Titan is also full of... It can also... Ah, so if I might ask,
Actually, one time I mined a mysterious artifact that gave me visions.
Oh. That's not what I expected at all when you said you did mining. But, visions, you say? Huh? Huh. That sounds more like what those people get up to in Neon, from what I understand. Anyway, I'm sure we could swap my...
I had to do it. Okay, so ice mines. Why do you need to mine ice?
For drinking water. And we use some of it to produce this air you're breathing. We recycle a lot of what we use, but we still need a nice, steady supply of fresh water. Lucky for us, Titan provides.
Okay, well, why don't you have robots or other machines do this work?
For one, New Homestead is not a wealthy colony. But we also pride ourselves on doing things the old ways. It's part of the living history, they say. We don't mind. We work hard here, and it's very rewarding.
And I'm all for that. Give the people the jobs. If they want to do the work, let them do it. If they don't want to do the work, then let the robots do it.
Bye.
Bye. And you other two are not named.
Off-worlders always ask how I can live here. I wonder how they can live anywhere else.
Okay.
What else can I tell you about the ice mines?
I don't need to know any more about the ice mines. I'm ready to go.
Sounds good. Let's keep going then. We have just one more stop before we're done with the tour, and it just happens to be my favorite. This colony is home to the longest running establishment still in existence, the Brown Horse Tavern. The Brown Horse started as a simple mess hall for the scientists and workers when the underground was built, but it's been operated by the same family ever since. Now, what's a horse, you might say? They were a large four-legged animal on Earth, often used for transportation or manual labor. Long before space travel was even a dream for the folks of Earth, even before antique machines like automobiles were possible, horses could be found everywhere. You might have seen them in old movies or read about them somewhere. If not, I highly recommend looking into them sometime. They're beautiful animals. The tavern's original owner was infatuated with them, from what I understand, and named the place in their honor. The moniker, Brown Horse Tavern, is also a throwback to names of similar Earth restaurants hundreds of years before it was established.
Well, Joyce says she's on it. Something about the turbines freezing up again.
Joyce is great at what she does. I'm sure she'll handle it.
I believe that conversation was meant to give me Joyce's mission.
Did you know the museum here is full of old Earth artifacts? Cool, huh?
You get
used
medical
to the methane
attention? See
processing
Dr.
smell.
Lakota. But
After a while.
word of warning, she really doesn't care for tourists.
That delicious smell is making me hungry. Can I answer anything about the Brown Horse?
You didn't.
I did.
How could this possibly be the oldest restaurant in the settled systems?
Easy. All the other ones fell to ruin when we abandoned Earth. There were technically older ones on Mars, but those have long since shuttered or been replaced.
Like we're some sort of ancient curiosity.
Oh,
Any menu recommendations?
But
Ooh, that's a tough one. I honestly love everything Anya serves here. I'd be doing her a disservice to recommend one dish over another. You want the real answer? Order one of everything.
All right. Well, what can you tell me about the owner?
Anya Seattle is the current owner of the Brown Horse. It's been in the Seattle family for generations. But Anya will be able to tell you more herself. Feel free to ask her. It doesn't feel right coming from me when she's standing right over there.
Okay, then I'm not ready to move on yet.
Oh yeah, by all means. Stop in for a moment.
Okay. Yeah, everyone else that had a...
showed one of the kids a picture of some silly drawing he saw in Sidonia. Now I feel like it's popping up everywhere.
Those folks in Sidonia may be closer to Earth, but we do a better job preserving its traditions.
It's a little weird that people come here to see what early colony life was like. To me, it's just how we live.
Oh, love you, Anya. Hi, Anya. I found this slate one of the customers left behind. Tried contacting them, but they never came back for it. Anyway, I know they don't like us using newer tech like this here, but I figure I already catch enough flack for working at Chunks that I don't care. I'm just wanted to leave this for you to tell you that I love you, baby. You're my everything.
Why not order some food and make yourself comfortable?
Brown House Tavern computer. 2144. Inventory. Current bulk food inventory in units. Butter 42, cheese 17, bacon 13, pasta 36, milk 32, heavy cream 14, flour 18, red meat 21, white meat 35, seafood 16, tofu 24, carrots 33, potatoes 44, lettuce 20, tomatoes 15, onions 17, celery 7, salt 20, bread 13, and rolls 12. Luther's new chunks ideas. Shepherd's pie chunks, Cobb salad chunks, taco chunks, pizza chunks. I was actually thinking, is there a pizza chunks? Apparently there's not. Meatball sub chunks, mac and cheese chunks, bao chunks, zhajiangmian chunks, seasonal chunks, candy cane chunks, frozen eggnog chunks, and gingerbread chunks. Restaurant temperature control. It is set towards 23.4 Celsius.
So then I told him that we churn
Lots of
our
history
own
here.
butter.
If you're
He
into that sort of
completely
thing.
bought it.
You didn't.
I did.
Did you see those wind tunnels?
I know I shouldn't have, but I just
Wow.
wanted to see how they'd react.
But aren't they going to think we're even more old-fashioned than they already believe?
That's a good point. They already gawk at us like we're some sort of ancient curiosity.
Oh, I'm just trying to have a little fun. But you're probably right.
Welcome to the Brown Horse. Welcome, I'm Anya. Is this your first time with us at the Brown Horse Tavern?
I can lie, but no. Yes, I've never been here before.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us. You're in for a real treat. We've got an assortment of food and drinks, some of which follow homemade recipes that have been passed down over hundreds of years. So, what can I do for you?
What is this place?
You mean the Brown Horse? Well, it's only the longest continuous running restaurant since humans started settling outside of Earth. There's a lot of history within these walls, and some damn fine food and drink, if I say so myself. This place has been in my family for generations. My however many great-grandmother opened it when the first colony started on Titan. Back then, it was a simple mess hall that she chose to put a little extra love and flavor into. And now, it's the pride of New Homestead.
I saw the Chunks restaurant out there. Does it hurt your business?
Oh, hardly. The locals pretty much stay away from Chunks, so whenever they don't feel like cooking themselves and want a fresh meal, they come to me. Only the tourists eat that junk. But don't tell that to my husband. He manages the Chunks. I love him, but he's a bit of a fanatic about it.
Okay, well, I would like to see a menu, please.
Let me show you what we have.
17 items. Seeing, is there anything in here that's unique to them? No. We've seen the fried pickles before. I commented on how they look like poop. Kiffles. A patty melt. That's a lot of ketchup given the amount of fries and patty melt there, if you're meant to dip the patty melt in it. It's too much ketchup. Hey, my supernova made it all this far. A veggie grinder. And that's it.
So long. Tell your friends about us.
You got it.
That delicious smell is making me hungry. Can I answer anything about the brown horse?
No, I think I'm good to go.
Okay then. All right, we're headed to the last stop, right back where we began. Feel free to check out the museum exhibit in the main concourse here. These displays are full of rare earth trinkets salvaged from before humanity left, and Maurice is happy to talk about the collection. The museum's curator, Maurice, will be happy to talk to you if you want to know more.
Okay.
Well, that's that. I hope you enjoyed Starsap tours as much as I enjoy giving them.
You know what? I loved it. I'm going to pay you 500 credits. Here's a little something extra.
Oh, wow. I really appreciate it. You know, I rely on tips from good people like you, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Enjoy the rest of your stay in New Homestead. Take care.
All right, that completes the Starsap tours. And there's Maurice. Odd that this isn't part of the tour. Is it its own thing?
Hey there! Hope you brought a healthy thirst for history. Do you want to know what life was like for the early colonists? Starsap Tours was voted Best Historic Tour 3 years in a row. I'll be here if you need anything.
Okay, after completing our tour, we were recommended to talk to Maurice.
We live a simple life on New Homestead, but make no mistake, it's fulfilling.
Maurice Lyon.
Hello there. Are you here to peruse our little museum exhibit?
Maurice Lyon, I believe, is what he was actually referred to as. Yes, I was just looking at some of the items in your collection.
Wonderful. These are all rare artifacts from before the collapse of Earth. There isn't much of this stuff left outside of private collections, but here we're happy to share a glimpse of them with the public. If you have any questions about the exhibit or New Homestead, I'm happy to answer as best as I can.
Okay, can you tell me more about the exhibit?
Of course, certainly. We have several items in our collection that we rotate in and out over time, but they all originate from the same place, Earth. We have everything from toys to antique technology to sports memorabilia. We even used to have an old Earth vehicle, but we had to sell it when we ran out of space for it. Most of our collection was donated by fellow Earth enthusiasts and historians who felt it belonged close to the homeland here in the Sol system.
Okay, So who are you, and what do you do around here?
I am Maurice Leon, and I am the community elder. As the oldest living citizen at 96, my only job is to keep Earth history alive. I tell stories to the young people and the visitors from other worlds. Although my memory isn't what it used to be, I try my best to get the stories right.
Elder Leon, like Elder Lions. Clever, Bethesda, very clever. Everyone here has such interesting family names. What's the deal with that?
When our early colonists learned of Earth's demise, they decided to take on the names of their cities of origin as a way to remember their heritage. Now, some may have been lost in translation over the years, and some may have taken it more seriously than others, but the names are mostly accurate. For instance, my family comes from the city of Lyon, in a country that was called France.
All right, could you tell me a story about Earth?
Sure, I'd love to. There was once a war, so big that they say all of the world was involved. This was actually the second time it happened. They fought because a terrible man named Hitler rose to power and slaughtered many innocents. Millions were lost. Even the colony war pales in comparison.
Okay, well, do you have any more stories of Earth? I'm talking to you.
Why, certainly. It's what I do. There was a time when huge monstrosities called dinosaurs ruled over Earth, long before humans existed. They were similar to some of the larger life forms you might see elsewhere in the settled systems. Their reign ended when I can never remember if it was a comet, an asteroid, or a meteor that hit the Earth. Whatever it was, it nearly wiped out most of the life at that time.
Have time to tell another story?
Let me think of a good one. A long time ago, thousands of years, humans built a wall so large it spanned the northern length of one of Earth's largest empires, China. They called it the Great Wall of China, and it was meant to keep out invading hordes. If I recall correctly, it didn't always work as well as they had hoped. I'll have to look it up again. Memory's not what it once was.
And I'm guessing because it's no longer highlighted, that's his last story. What could you tell me about how New Homestead came to be?
It's an interesting story. New Homestead began as a scientific research base called the Titan Astrobase, back when space travel was in its infancy. The hope was that humanity would be able to discover simple alien life here given the moon's composition and water supply. When that ultimately failed, it was repurposed as a colony research base where scientists and engineers studied how to build colonies on inhospitable worlds. Then, finally, when gravity drives were commonplace and we started finding Earth-like planets, New Homestead was born as a living history community to preserve that past.
All right.
Take care.
Museum display. Assorted Earth media, clockwise from bottom left. Book, Tales from Space and Time by H.G. Wells, 1899. Book On the Origin of Species by Charles Darwin, 1859. Book Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, 1818. Portable compact disc player from 1993. Book Sailing Alone Around the World by Joshua Slocum, 1900s. And a videotape from 1976. So I was hoping he would talk about them, but he said they switch. He said they switched them out, and this presents another missed opportunity. Earth is.
I don't get it. I'm sorry. What don't you get?
Earth. Like, what's the big deal? It's just another dead world.
It's where we're all from. It was a place of beauty and unimaginable history. I cannot overstate how important it was for all of humanity.
I guess so. Maybe I need to look up more about it.
Yeah, another missed opportunity of a side quest, a repeatable side quest, where we can dive through the ruins of Earth and bring him back relics. I don't know why Bethesda couldn't think of that. Like, that's a great idea.
The museum here is
what is
free
this?
to everyone.
Antique instrument of unknown origin, Earth. Believed to be of West African origin, possibly a type of ngoni, a harp-like string instrument traditionally used in ceremonies accompanied with chanting and storytelling. This instrument was generously donated to the new Homestead Museum, but its true origin is unfortunately lost to time.
Word of advice, steer clear of the doctor here. She really seems to have a problem with tourists for some reason.
Look at these old computers. Antique computers, a range of antique Earth computers ranging from the late 1980s to the mid-2000s. Computers have existed in some form since Charles Babbage's difference engine in 1822. The years from the mid-20th century into the early 21st century were known for some of the greatest advances in computing technology as computers shrank from gigantic room-sized devices filled with vacuum tubes to small boxes filled with microprocessors like the ones you see here. And essentially like the ones you see here. Look at that piggy bank. Museum display. Earth animals. Commercial reproductions of Earth fauna. Throughout human history, replicas of Earth animals were used in many different ways, from toys and games to more practical uses such as these items. A piggy bank on the left. As far back as the 15th century, hollowed out ceramic statues of the animal known as pig were popularly used to store physical currency. A decoy duck on the right. Waterfowl, known as ducks, were once hunted near Earth's marshes for sport and food using ballistic rifles. To facilitate this activity, hunters would often place wooden decoy ducks in the water and use a small wood-wind instrument to produce an accompanying call resembling that of the duck in order to lure it in. Okay.
The people here live a simple life. Try not to complicate it.
Museum display. Various sports memorabilia. Various Earth sports photos and memorabilia from left to right. The championship basketball from Boston, Massachusetts, 1978. The game-winning soccer ball, odd because this is UC. UC would not call it a soccer ball, they would call it a football, from the International League of 2118. Basketball used by the United States World Champion basketball team from 1992, and the record-setting home run baseball from 1935.
There are times I envy those who are able to travel.
Oh, I read that wrong. It's championship baseball, not a basketball. And none of these photos are of sports.
It's one thing to learn about early colony life. It's another to
you don't have to be
experience
nervous about asking me if I've got any freebies. I know you don't have a lot of money. You know I'll always take care of you. I bought something off a tourist real cheap. I think you're gonna like it. I'll drop by with it later, after I clean it up.
Wow. Thank you, Jay. I don't know what to say.
Don't worry about it. You just keep on being you.
I did give her $20,000.
Oh, I can't imagine living here. These people sure are hardy.
Championship ice hockey stick. Ice hockey stick used on Earth in the city of Edmonton, Canada during a 1988 championship game. Ice hockey is a contact sport played on an ice rink where two teams with 5 players and 2 goaltenders called goalies compete to deposit a rubberized puck in the other team's goal. The players traverse the rink on specialized shoes mounted on thin metal blades called ice skates and manipulate the puck with specialized curved sticks such as the one displayed here. What the heck is that? Miscellaneous Earth knickknacks from left to right. Unknown decorative liquor bottle brought from Earth to New Homestead during its original mission. Electronic pipes used to inhale various legal substances during early New Homestead colonial times. An equinautical dial, it's a compass, just say compass, brought to New Homestead by one of the original settlers as a family heirloom, original construction 1800s. A scroll case of unknown date and origin, believed to have once been a sacred relic. This old scroll case likely predates any other synthetic item in the museum. The scroll itself has been lost to time, so there's nothing inside it. Okay. Scale, this is the RV Calypso. Scale model of the RV Calypso. Originally commissioned by the British Royal Navy as a minesweeper vessel and launched in 1942. It was later repurposed by famed Earth oceanographic researcher Jacques Cousteau. In 1950, Cousteau dedicated his life to exploring Earth's oceans further and deeper than anyone before him. During his expeditions, he found a deeper understanding of the sea's fragile ecosystems and became an advocate for ocean preservation. And yet, the world is gone. Museum display. Scale model of the HMS Beagle. Originally constructed for the British Navy as a war vessel and first launched in 1820, this Cherokee-class brig sloop was most famous for transporting renowned scientist Charles Darwin during his famous worldwide research voyage in 1831 and 1836. And again, very British stuff here. This would be called a football, not a soccer ball.
You don't mess with history.
Okay, 2 more. Meteorites. Natural space debris like asteroids and meteorites routinely enters planetary or moon atmospheres to impact the surface below. When a meteor survives its journey through the atmosphere and makes impact, the result is a meteorite such as the one seen in this display case. From left to right is an unaltered piece of Gibeon meteorite, which impacted Earth 600 million years ago. A fluorescent meteorite, which impacted Titan 20 million years ago. And a slab of Nantan meteorite, which is believed to have impacted Earth 800 years ago. And nope, not finally. There is another one right there I did not see. NASA. One of several Earth-based space agencies, was instrumental in humankind's earliest journeys into space. Indeed, it was due to the efforts of NASA that New Homestead exists. In 2107, NASA sent an unmanned probe to Titan, which paved the way for the development of the Titan astrobase, completed in 2130 by 2130. By 2185, the Titan astrobase project was transitioned into the colony of New Homestead. From left to right, a NASA prototype rocket, NASA brand mug, a Vostok 1, a USSR space program, the Space Shuttle Discovery, the Apollo 11, and collectible snow globes. Item on loan from NASA. This was obviously because it was before.
Oh, the tourists hated that.
Well, Joyce says she's on it. Something about the turbines freezing up again.
Joyce is great at what she does. I'm sure she'll handle it.
And once again, it did not give me the mission. It's still broken. Okay. Final museum display. More meteorites. Natural space debris. Oh, that's the same as it was earlier. Display to the left. Polished and rounded piece of Gibeon meteorite, which impacted Earth 600 million years ago. Displayed ahead from left to right. Carbonaceous chondrite meteorite, which impacted Titan 250 million years ago, and a piece of Dronian meteorite, which is believed to have impacted Earth more than 1,200 years ago. Wait, so this is a meteorite? Alright. And that's it for our tour. We have 2, potentially 3 if I can get the other mission working. More missions that we have to do here on New Homestead. Well, as far as I know, there's potentially still more.